Hello, I'm back. Hey, everybody. Good morning, good evening, and as always, I hope you're having a good night whenever you're happening to listen to this episode. I'm, dusting off the mic. A lot's changed. I think my last message when I came on in the last quick little little tidbit, I updated you guys and told you that I had recently taken a new position at work and kind of told you what happened with all of that good stuff. And I had every intention to come right back with a few new episodes. And I was not able to do that because I had to take time to adjust with the new position. And I'd be lying to you if I said, it's a ton of work. I'm having to learn so much. I actually am learning a lot, but the workload is much lighter than my prior position with the company. And when it comes to my creative muscle, i.e. creating podcast episodes for you guys, I had to kind of put that on the back seat and get myself set up. Not all of it has been work. A lot of it is just, if I'm being honest, mental reconditioning of the mind. I'm going to try to stop saying so much. Listen to some past episodes just for inspiration. I always listen to the past episodes, no matter what I think my voice sounds like. And I say a lot. I almost did it again. I listened to some past episodes, and I said to myself, I've been saying to myself, when I come back and, have certain guests that I have linked with, and some of you know who you are. I forget it. I'm just going to say, it's comfortable. Okay. I know it's terrible. I've had this idea probably since the first genesis of creating this podcast, but it was much scarier, if I'm being honest, than, actually interviewing people, some friends, some strangers. I don't think I've had family on. And that idea was to have a podcast where it's just me. Now, I'm not making a declaration that, the format's going to change, but from time to time, I guess I am going to have a bit of a change. It will be just me. I promise it'll still be entertaining. Getting guests, I'm just going to be honest, getting guests on, and good guests. I mean, there's a lot of people, who are willing to come on, and, some of them I just feel, you have to vet people. You can't be afraid to do that. You can't take everybody just because it's, a person with a pulse. And, within that search, that little voice in my head kept saying, hey, you need to do solo episodes. And I have some pretty cool ideas as far as the solo episodes. As we go along, I'm going to kind of sprinkle some of those in. And, this episode is one of those. The podcast is grow up already, and the career choices we made, the early choices in life. And, you guys have, my faithful listeners, have listened to the episodes, and it's about, what made you, what made you decide to go the route that you went. And, for myself, it's not just about career choices. It's about life choices early on. And I've told my story on here on the Me, Myself, and I episode. But like anyone else, you listen to your episode or you listen to other people's episodes and you say to yourself, shoot, I left a lot of stuff out. I know for myself, there's things in my past as a kid that kind of, if you look back and you pay attention to who you were as a kid, the way you thought, and it's a button that I often wish I could turn off, that analyzing mind. I can't watch a TV show without analyzing it, which is why I have watched zero of your suggestions of binge watching when I had my ankle surgery. Everyone, oh, you got to watch. Oh, I'm telling you, this show's different. This show's different. I have several reasons why, and I probably said something about it on the podcast before. I just don't enjoy watching hours of television. I never thought I would be one of those people. I always thought those people were thinking they were high and mighty and better than us. But I am one of those people. I do not enjoy watching hours and hours of TV and not getting paid for it. That's just the truth. There's not saying there's something wrong with you. I'm just saying there's nothing wrong with me. And that's why I don't do it. So anyhow, where am I going with this? I'm rambling. I'm a bit of a rambling man sometimes, and you guys know that. But early on, as a kid, there were things that I just noticed I couldn't turn off. I was always reading people. And it's funny with the position I have now. A lot of it is technical. I'm a project manager for a refrigeration company that I should probably leave nameless. I'm not sure the legalities of that. I don't want a letter coming to me, and it's irrelevant anyway, at least at this point in the game. But I have done a lot of reflecting since the change in position, in just my time, what makes me happy, what has always made me happy, and what consistently has not made me happy career-wise. And it's interesting when you step out from something that has made you unhappy for so long, and I'm sure people can relate this to other areas of their life, but you step out from something that has made you unhappy for so long, and you maybe have validated staying in that position or in that role in your life for whatever reason, money, your kids, your home, whatever it is. And I don't knock anyone for that because I'm guilty of all of those things. But when you step out from it, man, you want to talk about being free. For my close friends and you know who you are, I've talked to, I think I've started off every phone call with, I swear I'm not trying to brag, but I'm not going back to something that makes me unhappy. I'm just not willing to compromise happiness and peace. The older I get, the more I value peace and being debt free. That is a really big one for me. Boy, I wish I had. Anyway, that's another episode. But yeah, peace, man. Oh boy, I really compromised that over the years in various areas of my life. It's just one of those things. I'm a very goal-driven person. I have been for many years, but that was a self-taught skill. I'm not knocking my parents, but I wasn't raised to be as driven as a lot of you know me to be, whether it be fitness, diet, and other areas of my life. This was all self-taught, and this transition, if I'm making a point or trying to anyway, bear with me here, is, first solo episode, come on, or one of the first. This was a lesson, a small one, or maybe a big one, but it was a lesson in happiness, compromising or not willing to compromise what makes you happy, no matter what. When I turned that truck in, now 2 months ago, my company vehicle, I won't say fear. I really dislike fear. I know we all have different levels of fear, but I really actively work on trying to get rid of it. And some people will say I sound crazy. Call me on it and I'll explain it further. I won't do it on the podcast, not in this episode. But when I turned that truck in and, wasn't sure of what the future was going to bring with this new position, that was kind of scary. The weeks that came about afterward, I've been traveling since, and the team that I'm with is phenomenal. I know you're supposed to say things like that, but no, it's true. This is definitely led by the Lord. I give him all the glory and all the credit for this. I really do. To get on my, I won't even say religious horse. That's just my relationship with him. But I give him all the credit because the team and the support that I have. The last time I had it was in commercial real estate with Mr. Jesus Heneo. I know I'm in a good space, but it's interesting being unhappy for so long. And I was, honestly, I hate to keep ringing that bell. It's been stepping out of myself mentally. And I know I'm probably getting a little too deep, but hey, it's cool. Stepping out of myself mentally and just watching myself detox, literally detox. And I've had these conversations with some of my past coworkers and close friends and even some of my family. Shout out Ashley, my sister. It's taken time to detox from what I've been used to and just know that it's okay to, downshift a couple of gears and you don't have to deal with what you were dealing with before. And yeah, that past position, what I was responsible for, but just the mental mind state, the constant mind state. I was on call a lot, worked a lot of hours, and that was just the culture of the job. But the people that you worked alongside too is just a whole nother world, man. And a lot of people really can't relate probably, but the bigger picture was I was so unhappy and I just got used to it. I was telling a good friend of mine, I believe it was today or yesterday, I said, running long distance, I enjoy it. I do. I enjoy running long distance, but when you first start out, you don't look at look at every mile. You don't count every minute. If you're me, and let's just say I'm doing a half marathon, not too crazy for some long distance people. You look down, you're aware of your surroundings, of course, but you look down and you just push forward and you try to keep pace. You don't count the miles. I try not to anyway. My thing is try not to look at the miles. Try not to look at the pace setter ahead of you. I'm looking at the 7-minute guy and, I know that's probably slow for some people for your mile pace, but I'm looking at the 7-minute guy who's slightly ahead of me and I'm like, okay, just don't look at how far you've gone or how far you have to go until you really can't stand it, and you'll get through this. And that's how I've lived my professional life since moving to Georgia is don't look ahead. Don't look at getting promoted. I know it sounds crazy and super dysfunctional, but it's the truth. Don't look ahead. Don't look at, what's on the horizon. Just keep pushing. Money's good, overtime's good, all that good stuff. Your family's good. Just keep pushing forward. Are you happy? Of course not. No, just keep pushing ahead. One day it'll all be over. I knew it was bad when I got to a point just in conversations. I would say I got financially responsible a little later than I should have in life. And I would say well, the only way I can really retire is just to drop dead on the job. That's the only way I'm going to get out of this. It's like working on the first season of Andor. Awesome show. I know a lot of people don't like it because it's not as spoon-fed and rah as your Ahsoka and second season of Mandalorian. It's terrible. But anyway, Andor, first season. If you've seen the show, you know what I'm talking about. They're just building that thing over and over every day, and when they're done, there's another one coming. And that's how it felt with that old position. And it's just the lack of happiness. I just got so used to it. And yeah, you can get used to it for a while, but it starts to affect other areas of your life. And that's what it was starting to do, I know, with me. And that, honestly, that's one of the reasons I did the podcast or started it. I just wanted to do something thinking outside of the box, something to pull me from my regular schedule, something to look forward to, from time to time when I'd have a guest. I always love connecting with people and catching up with friends. I mean, that's, come on, if you haven't figured it out already, I think I know just about every guest that I've had on personally and have known them for a very long time. It was just an excuse to connect with them, and many more as time goes on. But yeah, just that creativity, I craved it. And I believe I've accomplished kind of breaking that cycle. And with this new position, man, I am very, very happy. Very, very happy. You forget, I'm thinking of a million analogies right now, and I won't bore you with them. I think you get the picture. You forget how unhappy you are until you step out of that situation that's making you unhappy, and you go, oh my gosh, why was I walking around like that? I will give one analogy. It's the equivalent of if you grew up like me, you had we got one pair of shoes a year, and when the school year was over, those became your play outside shoes, and school time's coming back like it is now. You get a new pair of shoes, and the shoes from last year, if you still fit them, they're just your kick around shoes or do the lawn work shoes or whatever. But when you get that new pair of shoes and you're used to your old ones, they're comfortable, they're not hurting your feet, they're decent. But when you put that new pair of shoes on, you go, oh my gosh, how the heck was I walking around? When you put the old ones back on, it's like, oh, the whole heel is sunk in. How was I walking around like this? That's exactly how I feel these days. Anyone who has talked to me on the phone, give me a call to check up, I appreciate it. But you can hear it in my voice. I know some of you have called me and, what are you doing right now? I'm like, I'm at Lowe's buying indoor plants for my entertainment center that I built the other day. I did. I'm still building stuff. I got back to my woodwork. Some of you know that I built out my basement and built, I believe, cool stuff. That's the goal, to build some stuff. I'm always creating, like the Winchester Mansion. Just keep building, never be done, even no matter how small it is or big. Yeah, I'm doing that. I'm traveling. I've been to Dallas, Arizona. That was cool. Got to go to In-N-Out. Arizona, Montana. Went to Butte, Montana, and Bozeman. I'm actually heading back to Bozeman and Butte tomorrow morning. By the time you hear this, if I can get this episode out tonight, which I know I will, because I'm actually excited about recording something new and getting it put out there. I won't wait till I come back. Yeah, I'm flying out tomorrow. I got a project out there that I am taking over, and I got to shake a hand and support and all that good stuff. Not get my hands too dirty, hopefully. And, while I'm out there, I'm lying to myself, I know, but the last time I went out there, they have like these really cool trails, like right off the freeway, you can see them. I mean, we got forest here. I haven't seen a Bear Mountain out here. They're all covered in trees. It's super green in the south. It's not that way in Montana, but they do have, it's just different. The landscape's different. Still got snow on the mountains in June. I love it. The temperature, there's no humidity. I had a lot of people kind of criticize and, you're going to Montana. A lot of opinions. But when I went, it was cool. I dug it. Now, Butte, Montana is an acquired taste. I'll say that. I won't say what I thought of it. I'll let you go. Don't like reading Rainbow. Don't take my word for it. But Bozeman, yeah, it rocked. It was funny. There was a lady on the plane when I was flying into Bozeman. I try not to talk to people. I really do. I try not to make eye contact because I know me. I know who I am in the world, and I'm just sitting there. And she kind of looked at me. I looked at her. I smiled. She's an older lady, and she said some, I don't even remember what she said, but we got to talking, and she was coming out to visit her son and daughter-in-law, new daughter-in-law in Bozeman, Montana. And I was like, man, I got to ask, like, what why are they in Bozeman, Montana? Like, I think I heard of Bozeman, Montana from Kanye West. I'm just be honest. I know. Probably you don't want to say Kanye these days. I'll probably be celebrating them in a year. Just backwards follower sheep people. Anyway, I'll stop. Uh, I said, why? Why would they move here? And she's like, oh, well, they went to school out here and she's a Bozeman girl. And I'm like, what does that mean to myself? But then she educated me. She said, are you familiar with Bozeman? I said, no, I'm not. I didn't bring up Kanye West, but, and I know Kanye was in Wyoming, but I remember hearing something about Montana too. But she said, she goes, oh no, it's very expensive. And, there's a lot of money in Bozeman. So we got off the plane and, I'm always on Zillow because real estate is always my heart. And I started looking things up. She did tell me, she goes, I challenge you to find, a decent home. And she goes, I mean, like built in 1988. And I was like, okay, got my ear open. I challenge you to find one for under 800 grand. And I said, oh, well, that's California, unless you really want to live in the hood. I said, and then it's 600 grand. And she started laughing. She goes, yeah, a lot of people from California are moving to Bozeman. And I was like, okay, I don't believe that one. Boy, was she right. I had 3 different people in Montana, just like, your server at the local Buffalo Wild Wings in Butte. When they heard where I was like from, now, I was from Georgia, but I'm from California. I always give that spiel. They go, oh, another one trying to turn us into Bose Angeles. And I thought that was the coolest nickname. They're making fun, but I was like, Bose Angeles. And they go, oh yeah, Bose Angeles. They're just going to turn it into Bose Angeles. They're going to turn it into the big city. If you saw Bozeman, I mean, it does have, at least the streets I went down, they're very nice. It's like if you took the city streets of I know people are going to want to shoot me for that, of Santa Barbara, like State Street, picked them up and put them in farm country with no beach near. That's what it was, at least for Bozeman. And I dug it. I thought it was cool, but they didn't like that because they liked what it was before. Kind of like how it is where I live in Georgia. They hate that we're getting more stoplights and more homes and a shopping center. I'm like, no, we need these things. We're doing all right. We still have 4, maybe 5 fried chicken places. And not the soul food fried chicken. I mean, like Zaxby's. I know you guys never heard of Zaxby's outside of the South. Chick-fil-A and Kentucky Fried. We got Popeyes now. I'm like, who is ordering all this dang on chicken? But anyway, I got to go to Bozeman tomorrow. And I told one of the servers, I said, my mission while I'm here in Bozeman, I'm going to find a sweatshirt. I know somebody's got a Bose Angeles sweatshirt. I said, I'm finding that bad boy. I don't know. I just thought the nickname was cool. But I got to go back there tomorrow. I'll be there till Friday, and I'll hang and enjoy the cool weather. I think it still gets down to 46 degrees in the summer, like at night. And I run, so, early in the morning, it's like crisp, like that crisp, no humidity Palmdale air in the winter. Like they get it now in August. Last time I went in June, I was flying down the street running. I was the only one jogging. I'm trying to stay positive and not say why when you're in Butte. Look up Butte. That's all I'll say. But it's had happier times. But I'm looking forward to that. But I'm in a happier space, guys. But I will keep the episodes coming. I promise. There's been some guests. I'm not going to rat anybody out. But I will say this. You guys really believe you may become president one day. My gosh. I've had so many people. I would love to come on, but I can't talk about my life. And I'm like, yeah, you can. Like, you're not that important. Like, trust me. One, well, I do have a decent following now, but still, like, I'm not on TMZ, so I don't think many people are going to hear. Two, everyone has tripped up and made mistakes. It's interesting. It's very interesting. A lot of support from people, but when you turn the spotlight on them and kind of go, well, hey, come on down, they don't want to. So it's been a bit of a challenge. I've had more. A lot of it's my fault too with scheduling. Even though I work from home now and travel, it's just it's different than it was before. And I know it's the summer too. A lot of people are traveling. I'm so happy school's back in for kids because now there's a little more normalcy going on. But we got them coming. We got them coming. I promise you that. I'm not going to turn this into a travel podcast where I start telling you about all the different places I've been. Although I have been to some cool places. Y'all know me. I don't just go. I got to see something cool or I got to eat something cool. I was in Dallas. I went to a steakhouse and they tried to, bless their hearts. I don't know who buys it. I wanted to see someone buy it, but, they give you, and it was a really cool presentation, very elaborate. It just wasn't my vibe at the moment. I was eating alone and they brought out this giant, I'm not a big seafood person, unless it's sushi, like sashimi, not deep fried crunch rolls. But if it's like, I'm picky. Okay, I'll leave it at that. Hot fish, not gonna get me to eat it. And shellfish, if I have to work to eat the meal, I paid you for the food. The last thing I want to do is get the food, and now I got to try to crack it open and eat it like a caveman. No, just give me a steak. I'm good. I don't know if that makes me ghetto or what, but they bring out this big $1,000. It was huge. It looked scary to me, like an alien. It was a giant crab. And the girl was like, "You want to take a picture of it?" I was like, "I actually do." And I did. Thing was huge. I was like, "How many of these bad boys are you selling?" She gave me the whole history on this thing. They harvest them just for their restaurant. Oh, they're going to kill me. I think the name of the place was Nick and Sam's in Dallas. But yeah, man, I've seen some cool stuff. Arizona was cool. I linked up with a podcast guest. Yeah, Steve Freeman. I don't remember the title of his episode, but you can look back through prior episodes. He's doing really good out there. Hung out with him in Scottsdale, grabbed a quick handshake and sat with him for an hour or so, chatted. It's been cool. I really enjoy the travel portion. Everyone's, oh, you're going to get sick of it. I'm like, no, I'm not. I really enjoy it. It's something that, like at the start of this episode, I said, there's things if you pay attention to yourself as a kid, like they don't go away. It's just who you are. And one of those things for me was I always wanted to travel. I didn't know how or why, but I wanted to get out of California. It wasn't that I hated California. It's that there had to be other stuff. And I did watch a lot of TV as a kid back in the day. So all these places that just seemed like a dream to go, like who goes to New York to actually see the Statue of Liberty? Like, I wasn't going. I lived in South Central LA. I knew we weren't getting on a plane to go see that on a vacation. Like, so the planes would pass overhead over by the Coliseum where I grew up by USC, fight on. And I would look at those planes heading east and I go, golly, I wonder where they're going. I know that sounds sappy, but it's the truth. And I look at them heading west. I'm like, they're landing. I wonder where they're coming from. Dang, I wish I want to have a job where I get to get on that plane and go get out of here, like go somewhere else. And I won't say my age on the podcast. Y'all know how old I am, but it took a while, but I'm there. I get to go and get out of here, get out of Georgia and go. I love Georgia, though. Georgia's cool, much cooler than where I came from. In my opinion, I won't get started on that again, but we're green over here. It's just the dang on humidity. I cannot stand it. Oh, I can't wait for fall. I get to have some fall early going to Montana, and I can't wait. It's funny. Everyone at my church is like, "You should stay an extra day. Stay till Saturday." And I'm like, "Yeah, I don't know if I want to do that. Then I have to pay for my own room." I'm like, "No, it's not really worth that." And it actually is. Yellowstone Park is like right down. You can, well, I think that's what I'm looking at. You can see it, like the mountains and the snow, and it's huge. It's not like you're just, you know, driving through the arches of Disney World like you are here. It's like this just huge icy forest. At least that's what it looked like in the distance. I'm like, dang it. But last time I went, it was such a short trip, and, you know, it was my first visit and all that good stuff. I didn't have time for that. And like I said, I'm lying to myself that I will, at a certain point, just jam and just go up to just to say I went to Yellowstone, buy a sweatshirt or something. I don't know. I just want to see a bison. That's all. I don't want to touch them or nothing. I just want to see one and take a picture, I guess. I don't know. But I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go. Thank you for listening. I turn in early. It's a little after 9. Then I got to get to bed because I got a flight at 7, which means because I'm an early person, I'm one of those people that believes if you're on time, you're late. That's just the culture of what I do for a living and the people involved in it. So I will be early. I'm getting up at 2:30 and catching an Uber at 3:30, which should put me at the airport by 4:30. I am rambling. I'm not tired either. I'm just happy. I'll be at the airport by 4:30, probably boarding 2 hours from them, but I'm good with that. The last Uber driver I had, I'll say this. It might be a little mean. I apologize if you're an Uber driver. I mean, not all people are created the same. This dude picks me up, and I'll leave it with this. This dude picks me up at 4:15 in the morning, and I was like, okay, we're good. He was supposed to be here around a little before 4, but it is what it is. So he picks me up. I live about an hour and 15 from the airport. The airport is down near Atlanta, and I don't live in Atlanta, so I live in the suburbs. So he picks me up in a Dodge Caravan, no AC. He just has the window down, and I just knew. I was like, dang, something doesn't seem... All right, we're cool. I'm expecting the royal treatment of AC with the windows up, but it's all good. Just go, get me there. Well, he gets on the road. The freeway is north where I live, because it takes you a good 10 minutes to get to the freeway where I live, because it's the country. And he starts heading south. And without giving you a geography lesson for Georgia, for, where I live up in Woodstock, Canton area, if you go south, it's going to take you 20-something minutes to get to the freeway. And I'm like super anal about time. I always am. I always say time rolls downhill to my family because they don't believe in time a lot of times. No pun intended. And this dude's just going, window down, warm, hot, muggy air just pouring into the vehicle. And I'm like, okay, I don't know where he was from. That's all. I was just like, this dude's really not getting it. How is he used to this? He must be from somewhere where this ain't so bad. And I'm sweating. And we're just driving. Now he's giving me a grand tour of Roswell, which, again, you don't know where Roswell is. But, I mean, complete opposites of where I need to be for going way down past downtown Atlanta to the airport. And I finally opened my mouth when I'm thinking I'm going to be at the airport by about 5 o'clock, 5:15. We're still in Roswell at 4:55. So that still means I have another hour just about to get to the airport now. We've done nothing but drive in a circle. And I said, hey, man, I'm just curious because I don't know where he's driving from. Maybe he's from, I don't know, somewhere way south in Georgia, and he just dropped someone else off where I live, and he has no idea where he is, so he's just following the navigation like he's in a submarine, right? Underwater, can't see a left or right. So I go, hey, you're taking an interesting route. I said, I don't know what the rules are because I am still kind of new to Uber. Telling my age, I'm not a trendy person that takes the Uber every day. And he goes, I know. And I said, what? And he goes, I know. It is weird the way it's taking me. And I said, oh, how so? He goes, well, when I got the request from you to come here, or from Uber, or however it works, I said, oh, he lives 10 minutes from me. I live up in Canton, he tells me. And I go, really? And he goes, yeah. Any other time I take somebody from Canton to the airport, I just hop on 75 South, 575 to 75 South, and boom, I'm on my way. But this time, it took me through Roswell. And I said, yeah, that is strange. I go, are you going to get on 400 South? And I know you guys don't know what this is, but it's the equivalent of somebody, instead of hopping on the 405, coming down into the city, into LA, they just take the streets. They take Van Nuys Boulevard. And they're going south, but they're on Van Nuys Boulevard or on Sepulveda, and they're taking that to the 101, and they're going to get on the freeway on the 101 in like North Hollywood. And maybe they'll make it to LAX. That's what he was doing. And oh my gosh, I was so mad because of my time. And he goes, you could get on 400 and kind of make it, I hope. And he goes, yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. So weird that it made me take this way. And I just had a mean but funny thought, and I'll end it here and say, God bless, good night. It just popped in my head. It did not come from me. And I said, that's why you're driving Uber for a living. I said, oh, and I don't mean that as a knock to people who drive Uber for a living or have to just for a certain time period. But it was very obvious to me. I was like, that's why you're doing this. That's why you're not doing something else for a living. You know the correct route to take, but you're choosing to just do what this machine tells you to do. And I know a lot of people are guilty of that with their phones. They don't even know if what they're watching is real or if it's AI created, but the phone said it, so it's true. And that's what this dude was doing. And I was like, oh my gosh, I made my flight. I was cool. I still had my, I like a nice buffer of an hour and 45 to kick it. Sitting there waiting for the plane. I don't like to just get there right away until I get that private jet money where I just pull up like Drake and I just get on the plane, with my luggage, right there on the tarmac and go. Yeah, no, I like to have a nice little buffer there and eat at the $30 for something at Starbucks, airport Starbucks. But anyhow, good night. Thank you guys for your time. I promise more episodes. I will not be a stranger. It's just this was a transition period that I am really enjoying. I'm still doing the backstroke in the pool of life these days. And I really plan to not compromise that ever again. So anyhow, again, good night. I will talk to you soon, and I promise I'll have a guest on before you know it. Reach out, by the way, if you're interested in being a guest and, you've kicked the idea around. Shoot me a text if you have my number. If you don't, shoot me an email. You can email me at coolkeith with a K 578 at gmail.com. I will not send you spam mail or anything of that nature. I will just say, cool, let's do this. And we'll be off and running. It's an easy process. It's just me calling you on the phone and rapping as though we're on the phone, because we are. Anyhow, take care. Talk to you soon.